Hey guys, it's your boy Kirsch Plays here, and welcome to Storytime with Josh. And today, in the last video of Storytime with Josh, we did the introduction to Heidi. And so in this video, we're doing Chapter 1. So without any further ado, let's get started into the Book of Heidi. Chapter 1! And for notification, in case you guys didn't pay attention in the last video, I want you to use your imaginations in this experimental series. Chapter 1. Journey up the mountain. The Swiss town of Mainfield lies at the edge, lies at the foot of a mountain range whose so rugged, peaks tower high above the valley below. Behind the town, a footpath winds gently up the mountain. One sunny June morning, a tall, strong woman was climbing up the path. She had a bundle in one hand and a little girl in the other. The child's cheeks were flushed with sunburnt, and she was wearing two dresses, one on top of the other. Man, must be really hot. She looked like a shapeless bundle of clothing, trudging uphill on a pair of shoes. After climbing for almost an hour, they reached a little village called Dorfli. This was where the woman used to live, and the people of the town remembered her and called her to her from their houses. Ooh, a lot of work. Oh well. From their houses. Wait a minute. She did not answer, but she continued on her way until she reached a house at the very end of the main street. There, a voice from inside called to her. "Half a minute, Detty. I'll come with you. If you're going up any further." Tired, Deity stood still, but the little girl sat down on the ground. "Tired, Heidi?" Deity asked her. "No, but I'm very hot." I think I'll leave the Heidi's voice to your guys' imagination. The child answered, "Don't worry. We'll be there soon. Just keep going and we'll be there in an hour." At that moment, a plump, pleasant-faced woman came out of the house and joined them. The little girl got up and followed as... Oof, these pages. This is an old book. The two grown-ups went ahead, gossiping about people who lived in Dorfli. Let me turn on the light. Much better. Now I can see the words. Very good. or around, about the people who lived in Dorfley or around it. The woman finally asked Deity where she was going with Heidi. Deity explained that when her sister died a few years ago, Heidi was all alone in the world, so Deity had taken her in and raised her. But now she had been offered a wonderful job in a good family. But the family lived in a city far away. Well, well then, who will take care of the pearl child? Of poor Heidi now? I am taking her up to Uncle Alp, who lives on the mountain. It's high time he took some responsibility for her. After all, she's his grandfather. He's her grandfather. The woman looked shocked. Everyone knew Uncle Alp was strange. Very strange. He lived all alone on the mountain. He never talked to anyone in the village, and he hadn't set foot in church for years. He had a wild look on in his eyes, and he wore a long white beard. No one really knew how he got the name Uncle Alp, or why he lived alone for so many years. But Deity's friend felt sure that Deity knew more about the old man than anyone else. After coaxing her friend for a little while, the woman got Deity to tell her this story. Uncle Alp grew up in a fine house in the lovely village. He was the oldest son and had only one younger brother. Instead of living a quiet life in the village, Uncle Alp longed for the exciting life in the city. He traveled all over, got into bad company, and drank, and gambled away all his property. His poor parents died of shame and grief when they heard of it. His brother was ruined too. He ran away somewhere, and no one heard from him again. Uncle Alp disappeared too. He had nothing left but a bad name. He was finally discovered in the army in a country far away. No one heard of him for 12 or 15 years. One day he reappeared in the village with a young son and asked some of his relatives to look after the boy, but everyone refused. No one wanted anything to do with him or the boy. He was so angry that he vowed he would never set foot in the village again. So he came to Dorfley and settled down there with the boy, whose name was Tobias. No one ever knew what happened to his wife. Most believed that she died. Anyway, he saved a little money and apprenticed his son to a carpenter. Everyone learned to like the boy, but no one trusted the old man. There were all sorts of rumors about him deserting the army to avoid some trouble he got into. All the same, he was accepted as a member of the family. His grandmother and my grandmother were sisters, so we called him Uncle. Since we were related to almost everyone in Dorfli, the whole village soon called him Uncle too. Then he went up to live on the mountain. On the mountain, it became Uncle Alp. Anyway, hey, after Tobias learned his trade, he came to Dorfli and married my sister. They settled down happily, but only 2 years later he was killed by my poor sister by a falling beam while he was building a house. My poor sister went into such a shock that she fell ill with fever and never walked again. She only lived a few more weeks. Everyone said the tragedy was Uncle's punishment for his own mistakes. They told him to his face that he was to blame, and even the pastor told him to do penance to clear his conscience. So troubled. That made him so angry that he refused to speak to anyone. He went up to the mountain to live and hasn't been down since. My mother and I took my sister's child, Heidi, to live with us. But now I must go away, and there is no one but Uncle Alp to care for her. Deity's friend looked at her with disapproval. She even told Deity that she was surprised that Deity could hand Heidi over to the old man just like that. But Deity said that she had no choice and continued on her way. And that, my friends, is the conclusion of Chapter 1 of HEIDI for Storytime with Josh. If you guys enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below. If you didn't and think I should quit the series, please also let me know down in the comments below and help me get to 300 subs so I can, because once we hit that goal, I will be opening up and starting a new Discord server so you guys can chat, talk, and hang with me there and post your ideas on what you think I should do next. And as always, my name is ChristianPlays94, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!